my beat down low, down low, down low, down low, down low. This is Cory, and this is the Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. We are joined today, very special episode today, joined today by the General himself. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? General Reynolds, Tony Steele, many AKAs. Glad to be here.
So we're very excited to have Tony in today. For those of you who don't know, just off the bat, we are IronArmy.com. Iron Army on Facebook and YouTube is where you can find him. Well, that's weird not to have headphones on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wanted to have Tony in. I met Tony for the second time a couple of weeks ago at an Iron Army show and blew me away. Totally inspired. On the way home, I text Cory. I'm like, we got to have this guy on the podcast. He's got an incredible story, and we're going to dive into that today.
Yeah, well, I mean, we as we usually do, pre-show, before we record, we usually bullshit for a bit.
Yeah.
And we were all outside just talking. And, God, you get me going, man. I was like, I know we got to get down here and start doing this, because if we don't, then we're just going to be up there all night. So give people like the background here. Give us a little bit of the history.
Okay. Well, well, you know, Iron Army's what's going on with me now. But I've been in the music game since about '86 is when I first started. Yeah.
Now you're showing your age. Be careful now.
Hey man,
be careful.
It's a blessing to see this age and to still be relevant and moving around and knowing how to reinvent yourself. So.
Now, the guy's voice sounds like he's about 26. I'll tell you, he looks like he's about 26 too.
Yeah.
Definitely go on Facebook, check out the pictures. He's in better shape than either Cory or I.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no disguising that. But yeah, so
I almost feel like you know the Sonic commercial, the Kevin Durant one.
Yeah.
Where they're like the 2-on-1 and they like on top of each other's shoulders. It's like I feel like the two of us, if we like had some way to merge our strength together, we'd still be like shades of Tony.
Not even close. Not even close. But yeah, so you got into it in '86. Yeah.
Yeah, '86. I got my start and just kind of happenstance upon it. I lived in and actually and now still reside same place, 512 Pine. I ain't worried. I ain't scared. Come holler at me, Cambridge, Maryland.
And for anybody who's asking, yes, that is on the Eastern Shore of Maryland.
Yes.
The place that Cory constantly makes fun of. I just want Tony to know that. He makes fun of the Eastern Shore constantly. So,
well, you know, it's... You can't...
And here comes the backpedaling.
No,
Go ahead.
it's not the backpedaling. I have a very, very sensitive sense of smell. So when,
yes,
when I come down there...
The fragrance, yes.
The fragrance of the Eastern Shore... And the lack of people and the no tall buildings, it just throws me off. I'm a city kid. I need the hustle a little bit, you know?
Right, yeah.
See, I'm the exact opposite. The city is like a great place to visit, but I couldn't live here.
Yeah.
I would have AIDS or something like that. You know, even
that's a problem in Dorchester County too. I don't know if you know.
Well,
that's,
it's a problem.
That's everywhere.
You know, we have actually the highest AIDS rate. I want to say in the whole entire state of Maryland.
Yeah.
Because there are so few people in comparison, but so many have that shit.
And so few things to do. So what do you do? And we drink and
drink
do
in
drugs.
back roads and you fuck. You know, it's just
right. Absolutely right. All right, but yeah, so you're from Cambridge, Maryland, Dorchester County, born and raised.
Born and raised.
Right. So yeah. So and you got into the scene early. How'd you get in?
I got into the scene by, I was a skateboarder. You know what I mean? I loved to skate. And I just have an affluency for language and speaking. I've always loved to speak. And I started writing poems at first, for the girls, because I wasn't that physical guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, I was raised by my grandmother, and that led to all kinds of issues that I'm sure we'll get into a little bit later. But I was always a little bit on the sensitive side, and I always tried to combat the physicality of others with intellect. So I would write letters and I would write poems to, the girls that I would like, and they would read them and they would like them. I was that guy that would stick it in the locker with the heart on it. You know what I mean? And then walk away and then try to gauge a reaction.
Preaching to the choir. These are two guys who definitely use the written word. So.
Yeah.
Right. And then they meet.
And I definitely use the creeping around the corner part too.
Oh, yeah. And you get a great reaction, and then you muster up the courage, and then you go there and you're like, I wrote you that letter.
Now, Cory didn't do that part. No.
Yeah. And then they go,
he'd stare in the corner.
Oh, it's you. But it's not you, it's me. Or that but. I was immediately stuck in the friend zone. Then I heard...
Cory, I knew you wrote that one because it said bitch motherfucker all over the place.
Yeah, and I'm
Ain't nobody curses that much in poetry.
I'm picturing a flashback to the most 80s movie I can ever picture. Is that how basically how it was?
I mean, yeah.
Cuffing the denim and now is that not it?
Oh man, I mean everything was like Michael Jackson jackets, the zipper jackets, the Thriller jackets. I even had a Billie Jean jacket.
Oh.
And if you didn't have a sock at home that you threw a ton of glitter on along with a wool glove, for Halloween and bust your best moves out. Everybody was, but even the quote unquote non-physical kids were just super tough by today's standards because your skin was thick. Right. It had to be if you did anything different or against the grain. Being a skateboarder, living directly up top where if there's going to be action or violence, it's going to be on that street. And I'm riding a skateboard with purple chucks. I got, you know what I mean, and a plaid shirt hanging off the back at me. I dodged a lot of rocks on the way home. And so you had to have a tough skin regardless to make it in that time. And I was more into rock music. Like we were saying upstairs, Aerosmith, Bon Jovi, speed metal, death metal, Kicks for those of those guys, and be more. Many Kicks concerts. I spent a lot of time over here, so I guess the biggest turnover for me was Run DMC and Aerosmith Walk This Way.
Yeah,
and then I became a Run DMC fan, and then I kind of cultivated my style of rap by listening to the songs that I liked the best, and then I would rewrite, in that style until I learned the style. Then I'd find another style that I learned, and then over time, you learn how to come up and create your own deal.
Right. Yeah. So, wait, good grief, getting all worked up here already. So then we've talked previously about the old firehouse dances. Was that your first time on? Again, I guess for people who aren't from the Eastern Shore.
Explain what this is.
Okay, so
I'm a little bit
a firehouse.
Confused.
The firehouse was not only where the fire trucks were, but it was also kind of like the place where you went to socialize. And like every Friday, maybe like every other Friday, depending on how many firehouses were around, they would throw these dances, and they'd bring in a DJ, and everybody from all around would come there. And so the teens would hop around. And Tony was from Dorchester County, so it would be Hurlock, East Newmarket, Cambridge, Secretary, and each one of these places would have a dance. So in Caroline County, we did it too, but I was from Federalsburg, so we went to Hurlock, we went to Secretary, and Federalsburg and Preston and all around. So, but they would bring in a DJ, and all the teens would get together, and we'd have a dance there. And something that was kind of on the tail end of when I was there, but I guess was probably going strong when you were there, was in the middle, the DJ would just drop the music and turn up just the beat and kind of offer the mic out to people.
Yep, absolutely.
Was that your first chance to get on a mic in front of a live audience?
Not necessarily my first, but it's where you had consistency. Because that was your own form of promotion.
Right.
So all these little dances, that was the circuit.
Right.
And if you were an MC and you really wanted people to know your name, you had to work the circuit.
Right, yeah.
So you get in good with a DJ, and when they do mixtapes, you make yourself available and stuff like that. Hey, we're going to do a dance, blah, blah, blah. This day I'm going to be there. why don't you come through? I'll let you get on the mic. So I'm like, cool. So, you know, I didn't have a car, so we'd hitchhike. That's when it was cool to hitchhike. And you know what I mean? And we would hitchhike to these dances. And I was at a dance at Hurlock in the firehouse. And that's when I first actually met Wally. Mm-hmm. Wally was, I mean, you know, he was a hip hop guy, but he was white, and it was just unheard of back then. You know?
Now give us a time. When are we looking at this on time?
We're looking at about 88.
So a good 24 years before Eminem came out.
No.
All right, so yeah.
And he went to the stage and had a couple guys with him. I'm like, oh, these guys are either like volunteer firemen. They're going to shut the party down, or maybe he's a DJ.
He's the fire marshal. He's coming in to tell people to leave.
Right, you know, he was dressed a little weird for it, but I'm like, okay, you know, I can dig it. And they gave this guy the mic, and he proceeded to tear the firehouse down. I mean, people who were good at MCing did not want to go on behind this guy because it was so new and he was actually good. Mm-hmm. And so they held the mic back up, and I was like, yo, move out of my way. I got to get to that stage. It was butterflies. You know, you should be terrified because you're confronted with this thing that you've never really seen before. But like we were saying, it's kind of like the Goku in me. I'm seeing this challenge, and I should be ready to piss my pants, but I'm excited for the opportunity to get better and to get stronger.
Well, there's two kinds of people, I think. There are the people who are saying, if you're the best, I don't want to go up against you. And then there are people who have that David and Goliath complex that, like, even if you are the best, I don't care. I'm going to go take my shot. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's just like a drive thing involved there. Where it's just like, if you got it in you, you're going to do it regardless of whether or not, you know, like somebody has, you know, did something incredible right before you.
Right.
You're just like, you got to take your shot either way.
Somebody's got to follow Cory at karaoke. I mean, somebody's got to do it. You don't know this, but Cory is the king of karaoke. He introed us with a little T.I., which he does at karaoke.
Oh.
And everybody makes fun of him at that first, like when the intro plays to T.I. and they see this guy walk up there and they're like, oh, Lord, here we go.
That's, you know, just a sidebar on that one, I guess. Because the one thing I always hate about like certain rap songs on karaoke is that it puts in like the talk beforehand.
Right.
Where it's just like, just blaze. And like, I feel like dumb, like just going up there, just going up trying to do his bit, like his intro.
Right.
So I just let the music play and just sort of get into it. And then people are just sort of looking at me like I'm just like nodding my head and lyrics are going by and they're just like, what is he doing?
See,
then you just wait until it hits and then get into the actual song, you know?
Right. I suck at karaoke.
Really?
Absolutely. See, because I sing, like, you know, I would sing stuff with Abstract and I sing stuff on my album and stuff, but I suck singing everybody else's stuff.
Right.
So I don't do it. So when I would do karaoke, I'd find a track that I liked and then fuck what was on that screen. I'm going to do my own thing. You know, either they like it or they don't like it, you know, but I don't, you know, it's hard to match intonations and stuff. And
then
you know,
at the end of it, you say, by the way, my mixtape's for sale in the back. Just please find me in the back.
That's
my
right.
trunk's out back.
Yeah.
Big Tone, you know what it is. Come holler at me in the parking lot. I got them mixtapes for you. You know.
No, so you met Wally, and there's going to be other opportunities. I'm not going to say anything now, but there's going to be opportunities to hear a little bit more of this backstory in the future. That's going to be a little hint for people. You'll be able to find out more about that. But I want to skip forward a little bit, only a decade or so. So you. I mean, don't take this in the way that I mean it, which is you got really close. You guys got really close to making it.
Oh, super close.
Yeah, like you were doing. I mean, and for those of you who aren't familiar with the way that the music industry worked, maybe not works now, but the way it worked then, it was almost like farm team baseball. Like you play your local circuit, and then you get a little bit bigger, and then your next tour you go a little bit bigger. And you guys were doing East Coast tours. You were New York. You were heading basically anywhere east of the Mississippi, and even going and doing a couple of shows. Just going to a place to do a show and coming back.
Yeah, Midwest. in Ohio at the Underground.
Yeah.
There, we were there quite a few times. Very well received. Elmira, Upper New York. There was a lot of the Attic.
Right. Yeah.
You know, we were there. We played the Thunderdome before they closed down. We played Ram's Head, not the small one in Annapolis, but the big one.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of great stuff, and I mean, and our name.
Well, I mean, I'm a big house man. Like I'm all about the house where you play. Is there one that stuck out, like in particular, like a particular venue or?
You're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh.
Well, I'm already laughing.
But out of all the places we played, I think the show I was most pumped for was Secrets.
Really?
In Ocean City. Because it's one of those things where you hear about Secrets as a club, you know, especially if you're from that side of the bridge. It's the biggest club you can get into. They have this metal floor with shocks in them. And when you jump, the whole floor is jumping, and they got bubbles, and they got all this shit going on, and they got TV cameras, and you're on the camera. And to me, I would go to, when I turned 21, and I could go to that club, and I was in that club, I was always like, man, I would love to play here. I always wanted that stage.
Right.
And we played that stage with, let me see, Mind Control, was it Avenged Sevenfold?
Yeah.
Some big names. And what they weren't, you know, I mean, Agents of the Sun, all these guys on the same card. And I was just like super pumped. We were in the back because they have their own hotel. They got all this beer sitting there. You know what I mean? I'm rolling one up and they're arguing about who's going to go first. And I'm like, fuck it, we'll go. We'll go. I've been waiting my whole life to play this stage. You know what I mean? And
here's the thing, though. You guys were amongst equals there because that was your club. A lot of people, and I mean, again, being from the area, I could tell you that there were shows, and again, there's more details coming later. But if you guys made a lot of bands, people would show up to your shows, and other bands said, "I want to be at that show because we're going to get seen by people there." So when you show up at Secrets, all of these bands who people may have heard of from other places, you were amongst equals at that show.
Oh, absolutely. Because, you know, plus we were to the point to where fans and people that were running with us would rent vans, and they'd follow us anywhere. Anywhere. I mean, it's nothing like playing the stage that you've always wanted to play, and you look out into the audience, and when your music hits, people are going nuts.
Yeah.
And there are guys that are supposed to be, you know, that are signed, and they don't get the same reception that you do. And we went on first. I'm like, I'm going to teach you, you know, you follow us at your own risk. You know what I mean? Because you know, it's, you know, you're nice and you're cordial with everyone, of course, you know, but, you know, every time I take a stage, my whole mission is to destroy.
Well, that's that same mentality. I think you got guys who are signed behind you, and you're saying, "Yeah, you don't want to go on. That's fine. Good luck following what we're about to do."
We're about to do, right?
Yeah.
We're about to take it there, and you know, Half Link, a lot of guys really came, and then that's what helped us to go outward, because what we did, because at that time iTunes had just started jumping off, and YouTube was not even really there yet.
Yeah.
Everything was like MySpace, and that was even a little bit later down the road. But we'd show swap.
Right.
So we take pictures of our crowds and video clips, and we put them on MySpace, and then we find bands that were similar to or like us, and be like, hey, why don't you come down for a show? We'll pay your gas money. Come down here. You can sell your merch, keep your own money, and then, you know, you return the favor with the show for us.
Right.
Sometimes the return didn't come back because they didn't want us to come down there and crush them.
Right.
You know, and take their fan base. But
again, that's the old model of doing music. That's how you spread.
Right.
It was, you go to, you said Elmira. You go to Elmira to a show. Hopefully, you build a fan base there, and then they want you to come back.
Right. And I mean, that's what was cool, is because, you know, we started having fans where we didn't know we were at.
Right.
So we go there and they're like, yeah, I did blah, blah, it's you. And I'm like, yeah, it's me.
How cool is that feeling?
Oh man, I think it's amazing. Nothing quite compares to live stage, to live band. It's so much more fun and involved than just a CD playing and a guy on stage with 30 other people doing absolutely nothing, holding his dick, walking around the stage. Because you've got other elements that people are enjoying, like guitar players. They'd love to come and see Chris play. How did he play that? Or, bass players or drummers or even other MCs like, man, there's no way that they did that live. There's no way to go back and forth like that. It's no way. It's too seamless. And then they see it. And then you always bring different entertainment values to the show. Like one show we did, we took toilet paper from the bathrooms and started throwing the toilet paper all over the crowd, and people enjoyed that. But what was really funny though was when after we did the song, guy comes out of the bathroom with his pants half hanging down, looks at his cross, snatches the toilet paper, and walks back in the bathroom. So, we were
He'll always remember you though. He'll be that guy.
I mean, he walked right up on stage, and we're like, sorry, I kind of left you stranded there, didn't we? So it was always stuff like that. We do giveaways and like Christmas shows. We dress up like Santa, which for me, because I sweat, and it was hot as a motherfucker. I couldn't wait to get the hell out of that suit. And we started throwing like CDs, and Wally had this little Santa sack. And he'd give this to me like, all right, throw this out, throw a CD, throw this out. It was a shirt. And then he pulls this big-ass dildo out of the bag. And he's like, hold this. And I'm like, man, I ain't holding that. I don't know where the fuck that's been. I'm not holding this, So, I mean, this is all a show. And then so he can't find a place to put it. I refuse to hold it. So he bites on it, holds it in his mouth. So while he's looking through the bag for something else to throw out, he's got this dildo in his mouth. I reach down to where the button is. And I turn that bitch on. It's rolling around in his mouth and shit. I mean, just real funny shit. I remember one time I'm sweating like a dog. I didn't necessarily have my hair cut because I've done this a lot of times. Like I want to keep my head shaved, and if I don't have the razor, or if it's not shaved, I might have to dry razor it, and that just fucking hurts. Like I couldn't sleep on my pillow for like 3 days. But I had a newbie on, a little abstract newbie or toboggan, and it was drenched with sweat, and they were screaming for it. So I took it off, and I threw it out there, and this girl caught it, and when she did, like a ton of my sweat just was all in her mouth and shit. And she just looks wide-eyed and just screams with pleasure, and I'm just like, I'm a fucking rock star. It's amazing. That, and I guess another show we played, and this was funny. I was coming off stage. It was our set break, and there was this older lady. She had to be 60 years old, sitting in the back with one of her girlfriends, and she was like, "Can I have your autograph?" And I said, oh, yeah, of course. And she pulls her fucking titty out. This motherfucker fell all over the table, right? And people were like, you going to sign that old titty? And I'm like, you motherfucking right. And I had to sign that bitch real big all the way across the titty. And that was one of the most rewarding things as an artist, because you think, this big ass flat ass pancake of a titty, but when you can take someone who's in their 60s and take them back to a time to when they were young and when they were full of life and they would do something totally off the wall like that, if you can do that, you've totally done what you're supposed to do as an entertainer.
That wasn't her first time. That wasn't her first time doing that.
No, of course not.
Right.
Of course not. But, you're a grandma now. You know what I mean? I could be recording this. You just want, some random black dude to sign your tit. I'll do it,
So
awesome.
let me ask you, the first time you guys had T-shirts with your faces on them.
Yes.
I remember that. Mm-hmm. First time you went to a city you hadn't really been before, or maybe hadn't been into in a while, and you saw somebody wearing a shirt with your face on it. What was that feeling like?
It was amazing. It's surreal. It's still surreal. That's why, regardless of how the band turned out, I will always love and cherish and respect those days. It did a lot for me, a lot for my kids who, as I said before, I was estranged from, not because I wanted to be, but, you know, you have bitter exes. You know, sorry, your pussy wasn't good enough to make me stay. You know, so...
I hear that a lot from my clients.
But
comes up in mediation more than you would think.
Rob hears that a lot coming from his own mouth.
Yeah, it's
also true. Also true.
But I mean, you know, it was you know, amidst all that battling in divorce court and custody and things of that nature, when I was a monster, when I wasn't no good, when I was, you know, when they say, oh, he isn't shit, he doesn't do shit, he's not shit, he'll never be shit. You know, you're saying this to, you know, my son and my daughter, who, you know, they have a personal stake and investment on what and how dad is, because that is how they're going to, my son is going to pattern himself after what I do. He's going to measure his ability in accordance to mine. My daughter is going to look for a man that has my qualities. So how dare you lie, even if it isn't a lie? Don't tell your kid stuff like that, because she's going to find a guy that isn't shit, that isn't worth shit. It's going to beat her, that's going to do whatever else, and she's going to think, well, this is what my daddy did, so it's acceptable, and it's unacceptable. So for them to go to school and see the people that they consider peers wearing shirts that has their dad's face on it, it was a total, it totally negated everything that their mother used to say about me. Well, he's got to be something, because this guy's the coolest guy in school and he's got my dad's face on the shirt. Kids didn't believe that I was my son's father. That's not your dad. You know who that is? That's my dad. So I finally get out to the school. I sneak out there because I wasn't supposed to. I wasn't allowed to be involved in their schooling. Right. You know, it was fucked up. But so when they finally figured, oh my God, that is your dad. And then, you know, of course, sales jump up. Right. But, you know, my son actually is into video and into music production, and it's real cool to be able to mentor him on those things. I don't tell him, oh, you do it this way, you do it this way. I just set an example, and then I answer whatever questions he may or may not have. The gentleman Shakavelli, from AFNF. My son is one of the founding members of that group, and it was a music group where you got people that was digging the music, and then you had the enthusiasts that were living a lifestyle, and then they assumed the name. And then the lifestyle and the art, as we were saying before, the lines got blurred. And next thing you know, he's all over the news for making a rap video and using some potpourri and shit. Yeah. So,
well, I got to say, this is the whole thing about Tony that I've come to love about him. We, in the span of 3 minutes, we've talked about you signing a 60-year-old lady's tit, and then being a great dad and being inspirational to your kids. That's the kind of shit that I'm talking about.
It all ties in, man. It all ties in.
But no, so you're not even inspirational to your kids. How old are your kids now?
My son is 20. He'll be 21 next month. Mm-hmm. And my daughter is 18 years old.
Okay. And so they're kind of in that demographic. I mean, I guess you have a wide demographic of people you're trying to help now. But I did notice at the event that there was a lot of younger, the trainer who you were talking about who worked with you, and a lot of the people I saw come up and talk to you are a lot of those younger people. So let's talk about that a little bit. It's about your, what Iron Army, what is Iron Army and what are you doing with them?
Iron Army actually is an acronym for intensity and resolve over negativity always results in motivating you. True statement. I'm a type 2 diabetic, for one. And I didn't know that I had this until I was like 40, and it almost killed me. And so I had been lifting and stuff like that before. And this is all a part of how awesome fate can be if you allow it to be. Don't hinder yourself with supposed tos. You know, do what feels right inside. And as we said earlier, if you don't know what's right, it's okay. Because you always know when you're doing something you ain't got no goddamn business doing. You always know what's wrong. When people ask me, where is God? Why did he let me do this? No, God didn't do that to you. God told you when you was doing something wrong that some shit wasn't right, but you chose not to listen. So for me, God is that little voice inside of me that says, don't you do that shit. You're going to wish you hadn't. You know, so you roll the dice, you crap out. But that's actually what Iron Army had started as. I wanted to find people who had stories somewhat like mine. I didn't know how to become competitive as far as lifting, as far as health. There wasn't a lot of information out there. A lot of what you see in medicine and medical books is all about the average person who doesn't involve themselves in intense exercise.
Right.
So your parameters are going to be different. If I were to go to the doctor right now, I weigh 225 pounds. They would tell me, because I'm 5'10", that I'm about 40 pounds overweight. I should be like 180, or you know what I mean, or something of that nature.
I can tell you, not overweight. He's not an overweight guy.
Right. So there was no guideline. So I started just chronicling my own mistakes and errors, and started to put that out there for other people who might be going through something similar and wanted to pull themselves, back from the brink. And then we found a lot of other stories and a lot of other people who were having different struggles, but it all centered around how the gym saved them. And, one story is Tamara Goldsboro, who had the gastric bypass. And some people would say, oh, that's vain or that's cheating. Well, she had an edema. And if she didn't get her weight down, she was going to lose her leg. So she reluctantly had the gastric bypass. And this was a woman, and I knew her when she was 400 pounds. She was happy in her own skin. Her attitude has not changed since day one, and she's lost 200 pounds to date. But it wasn't just the gastric bypass. It was all about the psychological effects of training, and that's kind of what we go on. I mean, everybody wants to see a lifting video. They want to see the freaks, but we're not about the freaks. I mean, you might see some people do some amazing shit, or you might see some new training methods or things of that nature, but everybody starts somewhere. Everyone who struggles to keep themselves in some kind of shape, or wants to do better, or is trying their best to do better, and juggling kids and juggling a job and providing for their families, or trying to make it and still find time to, even if it's just walk down the block. You're a soldier in this. Yeah. You're a soldier in our army. And we want everyone to feel welcome, no matter what type of shape you're in, to come and get some of this brotherhood, this family feeling, this camaraderie, and let it motivate and elevate you to becoming a better you. It's not about being better than anyone else. I want to be the best me I can be. Yeah. And, that pretty much, in a nutshell, is how that came about. We deal with post-traumatic stress disorders. Miss Jenny Goody Witten had an car accident when she was 16, and killed her then-time boyfriend. First time driving the truck, turned down the road and bent over to just turn the radio knob, and woke up in a bean field. Oof. And they didn't even know he was out there. They didn't find him for 2 days or so. Oh. And then you're dealing with the survivor, the survivor's complex, and she went to all types of alcohol and drugs and thousands of dollars of physical therapy. And what really saved her was $55, a pair of running shoes, and an open road. And that's how she found her salvation and brought herself back from the brink. So it's about training in all facets. We deal with the Ironman Triathlon, which is going to be in Dorchester County for the next 3 years. It's already been in 4 years. We had it last year. Mm-hmm.
And actually, Iron Army's playing at the triathlon.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where yet, because as I told them, we're here to help them. Wherever you think we would be the best motivationally. Of course, everybody thinks, oh, man, you should get the ESPN in the front stage where all the cameras are going to be. But this is for the athletes. These are for people that, that are pushing and motivating themselves to beat their times and to make it through that race. So maybe Great Marsh, where they're coming out of the water and hopping on the bikes, and we're going to be kind of just sitting there smacking them on the ass. Go, go, go. You want to hear that music and swim towards it. So.
Well, and I can say, so you can find all those 2 stories you were just talking about, all that and more on weareironarmy.com. It's weareironarmy.com. You can find links to all that stuff on with Iron Army on Facebook. And I got to say again, I got the CD in my car. It's in my CD player now. I would say that that doldrum of the race is, no offense to you, I would love to see you on ESPN.
Right.
But the doldrum of the race is where I would see your music fitting best. It's pumped up. It's all of it is just high intensity music, and it really I could see it being good there, just getting everybody fired up.
Oh, absolutely. That's where you make your mark. It's an interesting genre. I really don't think there's anybody in it except for maybe Rob and the Hustle. Rob Bailey in the Hustle. Mm-hmm. Rob Bailey actually is the husband of Miss Olympia. But he's more like Screamco, and I wanted to have a more detailed message lyrically. I think it has a sound that can appeal mainstream, but it talks about reps, sets, the emotions. When you're getting underneath something that you've never done before, and you're looking for motivation and drive to take yourself a place that you've never been. This is what you want in your headphones, something that's going to appeal to what you're doing to help keep you on task. Everything is going, is about heart rate. It's BPM, something that we're going to be looking at in the second album that we put out. Everything is going to be more BPM, and depending on what the exercise is, we want to get into Zumba. We want to get into different types of music for different types of training. And, just try to keep it relevant. It's for that bodybuilding community. And a lot of people were like, oh, I'm not sure. Like guys that knew the stuff that I used to do. But I'm like, what is it, a $20 billion industry a year? I think there's enough there. And this is a need that is not met. So sometimes it's better to be first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, it's going back to that same theme of you can't be scared to be the first one out. You can't be scared to meet that challenge and just say, this is what we're going to do. And I got to say, it's not like anything that you've ever heard before. It's not. It's got that rock and rap sound, definitely. But it's literally, you realize when you have it in your headphones in the gym that Tony is almost like a personal trainer yelling at you in your head that, you can get that one more rep. You can get that one more set. It's getting fired up to lift one more and get it done. So is that where the inspiration is? Is it really that direct?
It's pretty much that direct. It talks about different situations that you would even like, one song, Weightlifter's Paradise. The first verse is all about, pretty much all about what it's like to be in a bodybuilding show, what judges are looking for, deals with, some of the angles and the anxieties and then, just kind of develops from there. To have that in your ear while you're prepping, while you're preparing, because, everybody listens to music when they train,
right?
But there's no music about training. So you have that 1 or 2 or 3. You'd have 100 songs on your iPod list, but you might repeat the same 3 or 4 songs that really get you there.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make a project where every song got you there. In different respects and different regards to what it is that you want to do. So.
Well, speaking of that, I remember there was once when I was at the gym. I say once because it was so long ago I can't even remember. But I had my iPod plugged in, and I said, all right, next song, I'm just running to the, like, whatever comes up next, I'm just, like, going for it. So if it's, soft singer-songwriter type of thing, I'll just sort of, like, jog along to the beat, whatever it happens to be. Fucking Dragon Force comes up next.
Yeah.
Through the Fire and the Flames, and I'm fucking churning, and it's like a fucking 8-minute song, and I'm like, God damn.
But that's the beauty of it, is that if you had something that drove you like that all the time, it would be much easier for you to accept what your body can do once you put your mind to it. We're so external, not realizing that change starts within first. And unfortunately, it's always an external thing that makes you pay attention to what's going on internally.
Right.
When it should be the other way around.
Right.
The body's the game and the mind is the controller.
So let me ask you, the new album, what's the title of the new album? Or the album you have out now?
Blood, Sweat, and Iron.
Blood, Sweat, and Iron. And how can somebody get their hands on that?
Well, at this point, you can email me. You know what I mean? You know, some people might try to get over, but as you already know, I'm an old school guy. You know what I'm saying? You send me the $10. You know what I mean? I send you the album right now. We're still working on the PayPal,
Right.
and putting a button up on our page. I've had some technical difficulty with PayPal. I put it in one account, paid with another account, and they're confused as to where things are supposed to go.
Right.
So we're looking to fix that.
So wait, what's your email address where they can get in touch with you?
Yes, the email address is The Riders, TheRyDerz @gmail.com.
And if you check the show notes, you'll have all of this information, including the email address. I'm going to have an image of the business card that I have. I'll make sure we have that up there. And we are ironarmy.com. So you talked about a new album. Is there plans for a new album coming out?
There's always a new album. I'm a writer.
Always something on the way.
Yeah, always something on the way. I love to write, and the hardest thing I think is to slow down starting something new on a production end to continue to give what we have its full attention, the attention that it deserves, and gives it the push that it needs.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of local or unsigned or underground artists, they put so much material out and they don't push it enough, and you end up recycling the same $500,000 in studio when you should put your $5,000 or $1,000 into that project and then take the next $5,000 or $1,000 to push it out further.
Yeah.
And then, after you've pushed it out a little ways, then you start back at one, and then you start feeding those places that you've already been new stuff. So, I want to make sure that this gets pushed and it gets developed to as far as I can possibly take it before we start on something else.
Now, see, I am a big fan of the political rap. So, Mr. K. Diddy, Kenny Boyd, gave me Tony Steele for President, which was your solo album from, I guess, 2008.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I personally am advocating for a Tony Steele for President Volume 2 because I think you had some really good political stuff on there, and election coming up in 2016, and I think that you and I talked before. You have a lot of good political stuff, and I mean, I don't want to go off down that rabbit hole because
hey, it is what it is, man.
Yeah.
Just
tell us how much money you plan on donating to Trump's campaign, and then we'll just move on.
I just like watching Trump rattle people. I love how frightened everyone is that he's going to say something totally politically incorrect about them, and they're always on the defensive, and they don't get a chance to take the issues because they're too worried about, is Trump going to out me?
Yeah,
and they don't want that beef. They don't want that beef with that guy. He's all about that.
I think it's kind of funny too. It's got sort of that when you have like a sibling who like got away with everything, and you never, like Brendan used to get away with everything, and I didn't get away with shit.
That's Cory's little brother.
Yeah,
for those that we haven't talked about before. Yeah,
but Trump could just go out and basically say like, Megyn Kelly was on her period, and like people are just like, yeah, Trump, you tell her.
Yeah. That's right. We want to hear that shit.
If Ted Cruz did the same thing, they'd be like, rude. How dare you?
That's what I kind of like about Trump. I don't necessarily know. I still don't really know all his stance and viewpoints.
He doesn't know his stances. It's
right. I mean, I think
even though along with you,
it's funny, but I mean, the worst thing that could probably happen is he actually got elected because he's just going to throw money at it.
Yeah.
What is it? Nuclear war cry. Here, take this money and leave me the fuck alone. You know what I mean? But I love how old school he is. He's like the John Wayne of politicians right now. He'll tell you quick. His fucking breath stinks. I don't want him in my damn face. He'll say what needs to be said. It's kind of like having, you see a president who might, if you hear him curse, he's a politician.
Yeah,
man, fuck. And they'd be like, the president said fuck. You show me a grown man that hasn't said fuck or shit. Yeah. And I'm,
We were talking about the debate, and we said we were waiting for him to just turn around and be like, bitch, to somebody on the stage, because almost expecting him to do that.
Yeah. Right. Seemed right.
And what would they say? Probably nothing. They would probably have some sort of very PC response because they're all scared of it.
Right.
But so I want to switch gears just a little bit.
Sure.
So have you been keeping track of what's going on in Ferguson? Has that been on your mind at all?
Man, I mean, the whole situation is out of control on both ends, and everyone is contributing to it on both sides.
Yeah.
It's police are doing what police have been doing, but just haven't gotten caught because people don't know their rights. They just know that something's wrong. The frustration is what causes the outrage, and when you're mad, you never make a good decision angry. So, people that are that are strong enough and fearless enough to do something about it aren't necessarily intelligent enough to do it the right way.
Right.
So the first thing they want to do is go fuck something up because they're pissed. And then you get a whole bunch of people that are pissed like that, and all it takes is one person to start it off.
Well, we saw that in Baltimore. That's why everything kind of got really fucked up in Baltimore.
Right.
So.
I mean, cops are human beings. I say this because not only are they human beings, but that means they are just as fearful. They are just as afraid when they're going into a situation where they've been taught to profile. So I could be that Harvard guy, but I choose to wear baggy jeans.
Right.
I choose to wear wear the cruddy haircut. Wear the cruddy, and he looks at me, and maybe my phone is inside my pants but down this way, and I reach for it, and he's like, oh my God, he's got a gun. You're scared, so you took a shot at me. Then when you realize, oh shit, it wasn't a gun, now you got to cover your tracks. A scared man will kill you.
Right.
Somebody scared of you will kill you.
And I got to say this, and I mean, we could talk about it as little as much as you want, but I always like to ask you this question because you have every reason to hate cops.
Yes.
And, I mean, you come out with it very honestly, and I think you and I have the same perspective in that there are good cops and there are bad cops.
Yes.
There are good cops who make bad mistakes and own up to it, and there are bad cops who are just bad, and there are good cops who cover for bad cops. But just so you have a great reason to hate all cops.
Yes.
But you choose not to.
I choose not to. There was cops came into my best friend's house and shot him dead. No warrant, in the wrong place. Didn't announce themselves because it was a house, but it was an apartment. So they come downstairs, announced themselves looking for the guy downstairs, but went upstairs simultaneously and went straight in. And, my friend, Andrew Cornish, Crump, God rest him, was asleep, and he comes out with a knife because there's somebody roaming around in his house.
Somebody kicked the door in.
Somebody kicked the door in. So
and
he comes
it's
out.
Cambridge, for people who don't know. It's not the safest place in the world. So.
Right, and what ends up happening is the rookie got scared, and he put two in his head. And then they tried to say, oh, he was a threat. He was, this, that, and the third. If he was a threat, he should have been riddled with bullets. Everybody there should have seen the same threat.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case. I mean, I know the training. I know the training. I know that you're taught to shoot center mass into the head because someone could continue to come at you.
Right.
If you miss, it could be your life.
Right.
But you got to be correct when you're in somebody's place. And it was a huge cover up. They tried everything that they could. Eventually, they settled out of court. I wasn't happy with that, but I'm not immediate family, so I had no say in that. However, it made me, realize the lengths that people will go to protect the image of being right instead of having the integrity to do what's right. See, integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's looking.
Right.
And there's no integrity left in this police department. You're dealing with the streets, and when you're dealing with the streets and you're a cop, people don't I don't think people realize that if I'm on one side of the law and you're on the other side of the law, if I'm doing my job, you'll respect me more than being dirty and continuing to let you slide.
Yeah.
You know, but in the same breath, I came up in an era where we had officers that if they caught you doing wrong, they're going to take you home to your mother. For real, you'd rather go to jail. You know, because you don't want that ass whooping that's getting ready to come.
Now, and I was going to say, I had, again, totally different growing up, totally different situation. My dad was police commissioner, so I probably got a little different treatment. But I remember a lot of kids in the neighborhood was the same deal. We got picked up doing juvenile nonsense. It was almost like, listen, no, really, just lock me up. I'd rather go to jail, charge me with something, because if you go drop me off at home, it's going to be worse for me than if you just go take me to jail.
Absolutely.
But so even all that aside, you still have that great mentality that's, you know, mutual respect. It's all about respecting both sides of the story.
Absolutely. There are circumstances, there are situations, our economy's not necessarily the greatest, and I just never believed in just say no. That's bullshit. If I'm hungry,
Yeah.
and I can't get the job at the McDonald's because now all the adults are working in that motherfucker. There's no more like teenage jobs to help build, you know, responsibility, to help build consistency and put a little money in your pocket and show you how to earn and give you a feeling of earning what's yours. And then you value the dollar, you respect the dollar, and you respect your stuff. You know, so if you're telling me that I can make this money right now and the lights are off and the baby's crying and I'm sharing a pair of jeans with 3 brothers, you know what I mean? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get that money because it's right there. You know, we came up in that era where they say, man's got to do what a man's got to do. So how can you sit there and punish me for what you taught me?
Right.
You know, through entertainment and through media. All of these things for real are
well, and I don't think, I think part of the problem is that some people don't even think about the this could be any of us.
Right.
Any one of us could have grown up so poor that we don't even know.
Right.
Or any one of us could have grown up, you know, with a silver spoon or whatever the case may be. Like, it's all, you know, you have no effect over what the situation is when you get brought in.
Right.
And, you know, when you're desperate and when you don't have food and when you don't have the ability to make money other than in illegal ways, then, you know, it's hard to tell somebody that they can't do it.
Right. I mean,
and especially when it's not, like, you know, some of these things, like, you know, I don't give a shit about dealing drugs. You know, I have a shit about the violence, but, you know, I think
dealing drugs is capitalist. That's supply.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
demand,
you know,
you know,
I don't give a shit if somebody sells a dime bag. I give a shit when they kill somebody about it.
Yeah,
because nothing should be going to that.
Well, and I call you a community organizer to some people, and because, and again, more of the backstory, but the gym got you on the straight and narrow, kept you on the straight and narrow. Grandmother got you on the straight and narrow. Jim kept you on the straight and narrow, and now you're spreading that message to other people.
Absolutely.
It's stay out of trouble, stay out of all that stuff that's going on.
Yeah. Anger. See, people want to. I'm not going to sit here and be like one of those super do-gooders. Like, we got to stamp out evil. You got to fight the temptation that's within you to do bad. No, you don't, because it's part of you. We're human beings. We deal in duality. It's a yin and a yang, male, female. You know, instead of trying to fight that beast, you look that beast in the eye, you don't blink, and then you put it in its proper place. You know, for me, the best place to put anger is the gym, because I can pound them weights. They can take whatever I can give them, and then when I'm done, I'm too tired to get into any dumb shit. You know, I'm physically not able to defend myself if I was to start a whole lot of shit. So there is a proper place for this anger, for this frustration, if you want to vent it physically. And I mean, now they've got the UFC, they've got all. If you want to fight, go make some money doing it, man.
Yeah.
Don't just be in the street fighting, getting fucked up, fucking somebody else up, and then going to jail behind it for frustration that they know you're going to have, and know that you're not educated enough to deal with.
Well, I was say at the event at the gym, there were some of these younger guys, younger scrawny kids, and I mean, I think again, I called you community organizer because I see these kids looking at you and they say two things. One, you're giving them a direction and you're saying, look, there are two options here for you that you could do. Music, look at me, I'm up here with a band and I'm doing this thing. And the other thing is your physique. You're saying, listen, you're the scrawny kid who's getting picked on, but you don't have to be. And the solution isn't even that far away. It's literally right here next to us. This is where I find absolution for all of my anger and for all my issues. And, oh, by the way, the side effect is you're not the scrawny kid anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's the purest form of equivalent exchange. Because where people can let you down. People can say this, but they do something else. That 45-pound plate will forever be a 45-pound plate. If I go to the gym, its mandate promises me, if I do the work, I get the reward. If I don't, I don't. If I fall short, it's on my shoulders. I can accept that. So it's something that became family to me because it would never let me down. I was always in the driver's seat when it came to that kind of development. And it allows you to put your mind into your body and start to actually open yourself up to what's going on around you and to be able to do so fearlessly.
I want to just take that, like that 1 minute, and play that for Cory every single week. Just like, listen, 45 pounds, already 45 pounds. It always gives in what you give it.
Yeah.
And this is what I was talking about. I wish we had.
Meanwhile, I'm over here going like, listen, chocolate's always delicious.
Hey, well, look, I don't, but I remember I wasn't always, strong or had a good physique or anything like that. I remember what I come from. That's why I accept and encourage everybody to just do something. You're either going to get in the gym while you can, or eventually the doctor's going to make you. And then if the doctor's got to make you, it's just hell. I see a lot of older gentlemen that are just, and the treatment hurts just as much as the actual thing that's paining them or the disease or whatever that's holding them back does. And you want to get away from that. I mean, I hear people, my lower back hurts, or especially women. I get this all the time. The woman, oh, my lower back hurts. Oh, I need to get a breast reduction because they just keep hanging. And the doctor says if I get a reduction, my back will hurt less. If you control your eating, you'll lose the weight. You strengthen your core. Your lower back doesn't hurt anymore. It's just an imbalance. You got a lot carrying in the front, and if you're top heavy at all, you start to bend over as you get older. And then that helps that scoliosis, that small bend in the spine. Yeah. So when you do back workouts, your posture stands up. When you do incline presses, even if they don't have to be heavy. It's all about just doing something, being consistent. Then all of a sudden your upper chest gets stronger and them tits start to lift. You know what I mean? Them tits start to lift, and then you're like, oh, shit. Because I think a breast reduction is a terrible, terrible waste of good sweater meat.
I agree 100%. Tony Steele for president.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I will be on the ballot. Do something to help you. Everybody wants to rush to surgery. And, I mean, in some cases, surgery does help. But the problem is if you don't retrain the mind and the eating habits, what you've done is you've shrunken your stomach. And you're still trying to put that same amount or more food in because you'll drop 50 pounds doing nothing in a month or so. And then everything starts to fit better, and then you just throw that, you throw that the mentality you need to have out of the window. So having a personal trainer, having someone that can keep you on track is key to success.
Got to do the work.
Right.
There's work attached to it.
That's why we always put up information that's free. Online on our websites, you can get new types of programs, and you have different people that are doing different things, so you can see for yourself. Like people that have gastric bypass, I send them straight to Tamara. Here's her email, here's her phone number. She can help. I'll make the connection, but she knows exactly what you're going through, and that's male or female. She's doing this, so she can give you a better insight. I'm not a know-it-all. If I don't know the answer, I'm going to send you to somebody who does.
Right.
Yeah.
Or we're going to work on finding out what it is together.
Well, I mean, it's all about, like, because I know the bad things that I do that I shouldn't do, and it always sounds worse from the outside, like from the get-go, than it would be at the. I mean, like, at the end, the juice would be worse than the squeeze.
Oh yeah, the first day is the worst.
It would be worth it a year from now if I went to the gym 5 times a week.
What is it? What is it that you tell people? If you start 6 months.
If you start today, or let's say if you don't start today, a year from now, you wish you started today.
Yeah.
And I have something special for our listeners. This is a secret, well-guarded secret on how you can burn 600 plus calories in 45 minutes without running one step.
Cory perks up. He's interested.
I have
Listen,
done this.
I don't know if my sex can last 45 minutes. That's my problem.
No. But this is absolutely true. You can go on my Instagram. It's Antone.Ennals. Again, my straight government. I ain't scared. I ain't never scared. You know, I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. Rest in peace, Bernie Mac. But what you do is, and the numbers are right there for you to see. And what you do is you go to your treadmill, and there's a setting on your treadmill that says random. You select the random. You put in all the miscellaneous information, your weight. You set the timer for 40 minutes because you'll do a 5-minute cool down. And you set the level to 20. That's not the speed. That's just the height of an incline. Because on a random setting, it's going to go up and it's going to go down. And then and this is even at my level of fitness, I set the speed at 3 miles an hour. 3.5. And I just simply walk. I get my tablet, I get my favorite movie on there, put my headphones on, and I just walk for 40 minutes. Just walk. No running. I have a torn Achilles. I tore my Achilles some time ago due to the diabetes. And so I can't run for extended periods of time. So when I walk like this, what it does is it keeps you in a fat burning mode. Your heart rate stays at that 135, 140-ish range. And what that does is burn fat, but it doesn't burn into muscle. You know, so you don't lose muscle like long distance runners. They're real skinny.
Yeah.
You know, because they're running into an area where they have to use muscle for fuel. So you don't lose any muscle by doing this technique. You will simply lose the fat, burn the fat, keep the muscle, and if you do it even if you don't do it a daily basis, I might do the cardio, 3 times a week, but even if you start doing it just like that, you're burning 1,800 calories a week, so by walking at a pace that you can definitely handle, you'll drop a pound a week. In 52 weeks, you've lost 52 pounds in a year.
And that's on top of everything else that you'd be doing, hypothetically, when you're at the gym.
Absolutely else. But if you do nothing but that,
yeah,
and see, even for ladies and for gentlemen that have the hanging skin afterwards, they're like, I want to lose the weight, then I'm going to muscle up. Well, see, the problem is that you lose so much weight, you'll never catch the muscle. The muscle will never catch up. So I always recommend clean bulking. Eating baked chicken, fish. Trust me, when you start losing the weight, it's going to motivate you to stay on that path. I have cheat days. We all have our vices. Yeah. You either have a vice or a skeleton in your closet. It's one of the two.
I have both.
Right. but
only Rob's is an actual skeleton.
Physical skeleton, yeah.
Her name is...
I losing my freedom over no girl. Come on now.
That dude should have never fucked her. but you know, you do clean bulking, you get the muscle bigger, that makes the skin more taut. And then now a lot of women say, well, I don't want to walk around looking like a Mack truck and be all big, but I'm like, you know, it's only a temporary phase to do something naturally, that you don't have to go into surgery and get skin cut from your arms and shit pulled tight. Try to do things in a natural way. Go ahead and put that big muscle on, and then once that skin has met that muscle, then you just back off.
Right.
And everything snaps right back together. So, I mean, it's a process, but you got to remember, people didn't get 150 pounds and 200 pounds. They didn't get overweight overnight. So Rome wasn't built in a day, and it's going to take more than just a couple of months doing something to really get the full benefit. It has to be day by day. Set your goals small, but keep a visual in mind of who you want to look like. Take somebody that's out there that you think is a close body type or something you could get close to.
Be rational, though.
Yes, be
I'm
rational.
not going to be Brad Pitt from Fight Club. We don't have the same body type. That's not going to happen for me.
But you know, but as you get in better shape, you can change where you want to go. I think that the body type is more visual than it really is set in stone in your DNA. Yeah. There's no way you would have looked at me in '86 and say, that's the same guy sitting in front of me. Yeah. So you can control your DNA. You can control all of these things. We're all from the same space dust. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So all of it's relative, you know?
I think my goal, John Candy from Uncle Buck.
Well, I got to say, I wish we had 5 hours to talk. I think we could talk for 5 hours, so we might have to have you back on here and go in that health direction, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It just kind of floated wherever it floated.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe just the next time we do it, if we do the health one, you guys can just yell at me for an hour and a half.
I'm going to get him into the trainer mode and just have him yell at. I'm going to record your whole day and then just show it to Tony and see how upset he gets over the things you do during the day.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Another payday? How many paydays do you eat in a day?
Wait, is this your cheat day? No, this is a Tuesday. Sorry, it's just a Tuesday. So why don't you tell everybody where they can find you again one more time?
Yeah, you can find me once again at www.weareironarmy, Weareironarmy.com. You can also find us on YouTube under Iron Army. And you can find us on Facebook under Iron Army. My Instagram, again, is Antone, ANTONE, Ennels, ENNELS. And, you know, come by. If you got a favorite routine, you got a favorite exercise, you think of something, we welcome your comments. We welcome your anything that you would have to offer, share. Bring your questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. I work with a team of professionals, certified trainers, nutritionists, and they're always ready to lend advice and to lend helping hands and to help somebody else out that's trained with TRA, Clear Cut Nutrition, Vigor Performance for you ladies, or either or. You know, we work intersex. So however you want to do it, we can get it done. They're available for online training and everything. So please stop by and do yourself a favor and get yourself in better shape to serve yourself.
And send an email to the email address in the show notes so that you can get a copy of Blood, Sweat, and Iron from Iron Army as well.
And if you want to find more The Anthem, otheanthem.com, Cory at otheanthem.com, The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, and the listener line, 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
It's 443-219-7595.
And you can find me on all your social networks, Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, everywhere, at Robert N. Cheek. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com. You can find links to all my books, to all the various websites, foundingthefuture.us, and daddrop.com, and everything, all the information's online there. So
buy Rob's books.
Thank you very much.
And, you know, normally I would say I think we've done good here today.
Yes.
But I think it's Tony who's done the good here today.
Absolutely. So. And usually I would disagree, but I can't disagree. Yeah, I think we have done good here today. So
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I'm glad you came on. So as always, you are listening to the The Anthem podcast, part of the The Anthem digital network. For Cory and the General, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Are we doing one more set? Is that what? One more? Just one more? No.
We do one more set? Are you trying to... You can't do one set, let alone one more set. So there you have it. Our interview with the General, Tony Steele. Before you go, make sure you like and subscribe so you get all our new content right when it comes out. Make sure you check out weareironarmy.com, Iron Army on Facebook, and of course you can find us at otheanthem.com. Have a great week, everybody.